Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the Munch. Keaton here, and as always I'm here to recap all the content that we released over the past month, and also to let you know what you can expect in the upcoming month. So without further ado, let us get down to it, because I actually do have some stories to go along with our recap this month, so let's not waste any more time. So first up, as always, I like to remind you guys, in case it's not obvious, that we are doing Overwatch videos every single week, pretty much. And I just need to reiterate here that even if you're not necessarily a fan of Overwatch, I highly recommend, well, not in the last couple of weeks, but I highly recommend you guys do check them out, because it tends to be a little bit more than just videos about us playing Overwatch. Because I need to, as the editor of those videos, find interesting ways to implement Joe's point of view into the video, especially when he's not talking, and that has led to some, what I like to think, maybe I'm a little biased, but some funny bits, you know, just a little incentive there in case you need it, because Joe often does get tunnel vision when he plays Overwatch, and despite my best efforts, which majority of I cut out of the video because it gets awkward, I tried to get Joe to talk, but when Joe is focused on playing Overwatch, Joe is focused on playing Overwatch, so that is when I have to look at the footage and be like, okay, well, he's not saying anything. I want to show his point of view, but it's very disorienting without his sound. Trust me, it is, by the way. Yeah, so we've got to make this fun, so yeah. And speaking of Overwatch, the latest drop pod was also about Overwatch. It was actually the first time we got to actually talk about Overwatch since Overwatch came out. We did a podcast back when Overwatch first released, but we didn't actually give our thoughts post-release because we recorded that pre-release. I just realized how confusing that sounded, but I'm sure it made sense. But yeah, the final thing I wanted to talk about in terms of Overwatch is not related to the channel per se, but during solo queue, I actually got to play with Seth Bling, which some of you may know the name, some of you may not. That's cool. But Seth Bling is a pretty well-known speedrunner slash like Minecraft player, I think. And the only reason I mention it is because that's probably the first time I've ever played with someone I recognize name-wise, a quote-unquote internet personality. Like, you find a lot of imposters when you're playing like games like this. So I was actually able to confirm, like, if you go to Seth Bling's Twitch channel and you find the archive, good luck, because I think he streams like hours per day, so it might be hard to find. But I did get to play. The first map I played with him was Anubis, and the second was Hanamura. So I don't know if you if you really want to see me play really bad, because I wasn't on my A game on that day. But if you want to try and find it, good luck. But it is there. I was able to verify that it in fact was Seth Bling, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, let's get back to the channel talk, because that's what it should be about. As I mentioned in the last episode, I was planning to check out Party Hard, and I did. Hope you guys enjoyed it. My foray into trying to murder an entire house party. First episode was the learning experience. The second episode was putting everything I learned to the test. I think it was pretty fun. Encountered some glitches, which is nothing new for me, knowing my luck and the way I play games, but hey, it was a fun experience. Highly recommend you guys check it out if you haven't. Also checked out Strider, again, another game that I promised to check out in last episode. I also got to check out We Happy Few, a game that I've been anticipating for what feels like years, I believe, at this point, if it hasn't literally been years. But yeah, pretty rough around the edges, definitely early access. I am interested to go back, especially after they start rebalancing some of the core survival bits. So I'm interested to check it out then when that occurs, and especially if you guys want to see more We Happy Few on the channel, I'd be happy to check it out for you guys. A couple of other new releases I also checked out this month was Zombie Night Terror and Book of Demons. Book of Demons, probably not the most interesting game to watch, but definitely a very fun game to play, especially if you like dungeon crawlers. And pretty much the only thing Joe's been playing this month was a game called Replica, which is like a cell phone game where, well, it's like a cell phone emulator game where it's got like a whole story that takes place in a cell phone. The only thing I can really say about the game is I want to see it put on the mobile market, like ported to the mobile devices. That would be so meta. Like, you're playing a mobile game in a mobile game, doing mobile things. Just, it would blow the minds of the universe. And Joe also looked at Chroma Gun and a new game called The Eyes of Ara. And finally, the thing that I really want to encourage you guys to check out if you haven't is our 7 Days to Die video this month. So this is where I get to tell a bit of a story. I kind of wish I was able to document this entire scenario, because about a week before we recorded the video, Joe suggested we check out the latest 7 Days to Die update. And I was down, but I wanted to do something different. So I suggested to Joe, hey, why don't we change it up, since we have the ability to record both points of view and edit them together? Why don't Joe do the nomad thing that we've been doing for the last couple of episodes, and I would build a base instead? And Joe agreed. So, and the main reason that none of this was recorded was because it took so long to set up, which, by the way, is another reason we love recording Overwatch, because it is so easy to just get into a game and then record it. We don't have to deal with any technical difficulties like we do with 7 Days, which takes like an hour sometimes. But I digress. So basically, Joe had no idea that I was going to do this character, and he had no idea what I was going to do when he reached me. So basically what I did was I purposely set up Joe to go into the scenario, and then on top of that, I placed the whole character of me and quote-unquote Barbara looking for Joe, waiting for him to come and join us in our little underground base that we were building. So basically what the final product was is Joe trying to, you know, just go along with the flow of whatever I'm trying to accomplish, and realizing that the entire thing was a setup. So yeah, I definitely got to give props to Joe, because he went along with the entire thing, and I wasn't sure how he would react, and more importantly, he was a good sport about it. So I highly recommend you guys check it out, because it's a very different 7 Days to Die video than we've ever done in the past. And you know, it's fun to just break away from the norm and do something weird and unexpected. So yeah, that was our 7 Days to Die video. And speaking of stories, actually, I have stories to tell from Overwatch. So again, if you're not watching them, the Overwatch videos are like the best place to find the saltiest Joe you'll ever see on the channel. Like, I actually do have to edit out some of his some of his worst salt moments, but there was one recently, I believe it was in the Too Cocky video, where Joe just erupts with salt over the fact that he got frozen by May, and it was horrifying to hear him get so angry, but also hilarious at the same time. I can't express how much of a treat it is to play with Joe sometimes, because the salt is just immaculate, and as someone who doesn't get mad at the video game all that often, it's pretty funny to just see the complete opposite of you. Like, sometimes you can maybe pinpoint exactly when in our recording session the video that we release happens, because sometimes Joe will be talkative at the start of our recording session, but by the end, the only time he's ever saying anything is either when he's angry that he died to someone, or when he's like pissed off that not everybody is following him or around him. Like, it essentially becomes a descent into madness for Joe, and sometimes it is just beautiful, like that one main moment where he just loses, he blows a gasket. He even got a little salty at Lucio Ball, not gonna lie. I cut it out, but he sort of started getting a little confrontational about someone outplaying him. I'll just say that much. And when that happens, you just gotta kind of go with it, because if you do call it out, he'll get defensive about it. But you know, as is the salty way. There's just so much beauty to be found in Overwatch, and watching Joe just lose his damn mind every time he plays it, because he'll go from like being like somewhat optimistic, and by the end he'll just be like, I don't want to play this game anymore. And it's just, sometimes watching salt just expel from a person is like the greatest spectator sport you could ask for. But anyway, let's stop making fun of Joe's salt before I get in trouble. Yeah, so things that you can expect on the channel in the upcoming month. Lots and lots of things are coming. Hand of Fate. So I planned to look at Hand of Fate in July. Towards the end of July, things got crazy in terms of releases for games that I wanted to check out for the channel. One of them being We Happy Few. I wasn't sure if I was going to check it out at release, but I did. And that's the reason that Hand of Fate kept getting pushed back. So the Hand of Fate is actually ready to go, ready to get published. But there's so many new games coming out that I want to check out for the channel that it's probably going to get postponed a couple of weeks. So it might come out maybe mid-August, late August, we'll see. Upcoming games that I would like to cover for the channel. I've been meaning to look at Headlander, and I will finally get to that. I swear I will get to that in August. No Man's Sky, a game that I've been anticipating for a while. It finally comes out, and I'm excited to check it out. I'm not sure if Joe's even planning to buy the game or document his experience as well, but maybe he'll do it as well. I don't know, but I will try to have a video up by Thursday at the earliest. I don't think it's gonna have like a midnight release on Steam, so I don't think I'll be able to record it in time for a Tuesday release. And hopefully it's gonna be a fun video to record and hopefully to watch as well. I'll do my best. Other things, Monsters of Monaco finally comes out. It's a Nuclear Throne style looking game with like the top-down shooter sort of aesthetic, pixel art aesthetic as well. It looks pretty cool, looks pretty interesting. I've been following it for a while. Finally coming out in early access, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll be Nuclear Throne version 2.0. Who knows? You know, that's the fun of upcoming games. A couple of other games I would like to check out in the month as well, but none of it is set in stone. No idea how my release is going to be going after the first week or two of August, so we'll see. But I can promise you, doing my best to cover the latest and greatest, as well as things I keep promising and other fun things I keep trying to plan but just never have time to actually execute on. But we'll see. Again, as always, no idea what Joe's got planned. He's probably going to finish Replica if he hasn't already. And as always, you can expect a cleanup cast, an Atomic Drop podcast, and the Drop Pod at the end of the month to close things out. And then we have another Munch episode pretty much a month from now. So, and as I mentioned earlier, maybe more We Happy Few if they get their things sorted out and it's a lot less of meter management and more survival. I will say the one thing about We Happy Few that I am disappointed in is the fact that it's much more of a survival game than what I thought it would be. Like when I first heard about We Happy Few, I thought it was going to be more about surviving in a social situation where like you had to do things and survive in a way that made sense socially. Like you would have to fit in, you would have to basically pretend that you were on Joy, you know. But so far, We Happy Few is very much more of a survival game like 7 Days to Die, only without the building aspects. You know, it's more like a Rust game. So I don't know, we'll see where that goes, but I am excited to play more of it. I haven't had time to play more of it, so the next time I probably play it will be when I record, so we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited for in the upcoming month. So as always, be sure to get caught up to get ready for everything that's coming up in the future, because there is a lot is going on. Exciting times, man. It's exciting times to be gamers. Well, it's always exciting, really. Like a lot of great games coming out. Anyway, let's wrap this up. So as always, thank you to everyone who has watched our content for the month, every month. Even if you're going back to old videos, always appreciate it. Thank you to anyone who has commented on our videos. We always appreciate your interaction. Makes us feel a lot less weird about the fact that we're probably talking to ourselves while we're recording, you know. The thought that there's actual existing people who are listening to it. Like, luckily, someone is probably listening to this right now. Fingers crossed. So I don't feel so weird about talking to myself, staring at a screen. Always a weird reflection, by the way, recording these videos. But I digress. Thank you to everyone who has helped us justify talking to ourselves, is what I'm trying to say there. But, yes, my insanity aside, once again, thank you to everyone who has watched and commented and liked and shared our videos. We always appreciate the support. And until next month, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys then for another episode of The Munch. Bye.